It's usually when students bring something home to share with their parents, and then their parents want to help. And the parents are blocking the creativity maybe by trying to, oh no, it has to be this way, and the student is saying, well, no, or they'll say yes, and they'll use the tools with their parents. And in our class, we try it this way. So by the interactions in families may change if the student is feeling that they have to, work in a different way to solve a problem, or explain how they solve problems. I can think of one story, and I'll use it again. It's from Heidi Seewack's class, of a student who was doing causal modeling. They looked into who they are as people and why are they who they are. And this student went using what would cause him to be himself. And in doing so, he really came to the conclusion that there was an adult he had met in his life who had really changed his life by the actions that adult had performed, and the ideas that adult had given that student that had caused him to overcome some really difficult problems in his life, and that he was a better person for having met that adult. So I think in terms of becoming reflective in the affective domain, in the cognitive domain, these students operate differently in their day-to-day dealings with each other, and I think that will spill over to the way they deal with adults. And I think that they will transform who we are as adults. I just wanted to relate one story about how one of the integrative thinking tools was used to really affect positive school climate and student well-being. A teacher in one of our first cohorts, her name's Chelsea Cowlin, she taught grade 8. And she had a student in her class who was somewhat marginalized, a young girl, grade 8. She was sometimes made fun of by her peers. Couldn't quite figure out how to fit in. And one day she came to school and she was wearing a pink dress. And it was a bit of a princess kind of pink dress, and not the kind of thing you normally see a grade 8 student wear, but she was happy wearing the dress, and she was really excited to be at school. And throughout the day, there were several negative comments made towards her about her apparel. And she came up to her teacher, Miss Cowlin, and said, Miss Cowlin, what's wrong with my dress? People are making fun of me, and I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why I'm dressing badly. And so Miss Cowlin spoke to her about, the regular things we do as teachers to try and make sure she left with a better feeling about school. But on the way out, said, by the way, wondered if you could ask your mom, can I borrow your pink dress? And so, sure enough, the girl came back the next day with the pink dress, and Miss Cowlin put it on. And she wore it the whole day when she taught that class. And all day long, people would comment on her dress, and she received a lot of positive comments about her beautiful pink dress. And the students were, a little bit wondering why she would be wearing this dress. So she waited to the last block of the day, and on the chalkboard she wrote, what would cause people to be mean to each other? And the light bulb went on for a lot of these kids. So they went through what would cause people to be mean, and they did a whole causal model map as a class together. And she didn't really have to say much of anything as to why she wore the pink dress, because by the end of the day, students went up to the young girl and said they were sorry that they had made negative comments or positively commented on what she was wearing, and they reached out to her, and there was repair done to the damage to that girl. And I thought that was really interesting, because Chelsea and Cowlin, in doing this, showed us that we're not just teaching about thinking, we're teaching about empathy, we're teaching about truly understanding people and relationships, and the thinking that goes with that. And it's affected that student and that teacher in ways I think that will stay with them forever.